Since taking over main roster creative duties, the game has welcomed back the likes of Dakota Kai, Karrion Kross and Scarlett, Hit Row, Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, Dexter Lumis, Mia Yim, Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt, Tegan Nox, Emma and the Good Brothers. And this recruitment train is simply showing no signs of slowing down in the slightest heading into 2023. So expect many, if not all, of the following names to make their presence known on Raw, SmackDown or NXT at one point or another in the next year. I'm Gareth from What Culture Wrestling, and here are 9 wrestlers Triple H will sign to WWE in 2023. Number 9, Bo Dallas. Hot on the heels of his spooky brother making a sensational return to the WWE sphere at Extreme Rules, reports of another Rotunda being on the verge of an unexpected comeback began to do the rounds online. Before being let go from the company in April 2021, Bo Dallas hadn't actually wrestled for WWE since the latter stages of 2019. This was largely due to the fact that he'd suffered a broken neck, which kept him from stepping in between the ropes for a spell. But the star did go on record to note how he'd actually been ready and fit to go for around a year before his eventual release. And with Bray Wyatt's typically supernatural re-emergence a few months back, it now feels increasingly likely that Dallas will form part of a Rotunda family reunion on the main roster at some point in 2023. Fans have already begun linking Wyatt's creepy Uncle Howdy character to his real-life bro, and having Bray go one-on-one against, or perhaps even joining forces with, his own blood, could make for a rather compelling development, I'm sure you'll agree. Anything's better than him just talking to himself, I guess. Number 8, KC Navarro. Now, WWE do appear to still be very much enamored with the idea of taking college athletes and turning them into eventual all-out superstars. But Papa H's returning influence has seen the concept of independent sensations being pumped into the mix become far more prevalent once again too. Look no further than recent reports of WWE being extremely interested in bringing in former MLW rising star KC Navarro on the back of the independent sensation becoming a free agent in September, as an example of the game notably turning his attention to the indie wrestling scene again, just like old times. And at just 23 years old, man that guy's young, it's not hard to see why the biggest promotion in town is seemingly making the electric up-and-comer a priority going forward, with Navarro definitely holding the potential to be a major player for years to come. Number 7, Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green's well-documented return to all things sports entertainment has felt like a done deal for months, despite those being the exact words used by Dave Meltzer last month when discussing the former Impact Wrestling star's inevitable comeback to WWE though. There's still been no sign of the former NXT talent on WWE programming at time of recording. She's probably popped up by now, hasn't she? So it feels far more likely that the charismatic hot mess worker will ultimately make her presence known on either the main roster or down in NXT at some point in early 2023, rather than being squeezed into the game during the last few flickers of 2022. Green herself hasn't exactly shied away from the idea of another run under Triple H's guidance either, revealing that she had unfinished business in WWE just last month. The star's last attempt at main roster superstardom didn't exactly get off to the best of starts, it must be said. So after breaking her wrist for the second time in her WWE career on night 1 as part of the SmackDown roster in November 2020, before disappointingly getting let go the following April, here's hoping Green experiences a rub of precisely that this time around. Number 6, Matt Cardona. And with his darling wife very much heading in the WWE direction, you wouldn't be all that surprised to see a certain one-time broski rock back up on the scene at some stage in 2023 either. That being said, should Matt Cardona actually make a stunning return to work for his former employer in the not too distant future, do not expect to see him strutting down the ramp in full Zack Ryder mode. As the independent sensation would defiantly note just a few months back on Twitter, Zack Ryder is dead, long live Matt Cardona. But far from completely burying the concept of making his way back to the promotion that released him in April 2020, the former GCW champion has brilliantly leaned into the rumors swirling around his potential comeback of late. Cardona's stock has definitely risen and then some during his successful stint away from the sports entertainment sphere. And it's already been reported that the company would be interested in bringing the former WWE star back as part of a 2-for-1 deal alongside Green, with Trips being said to be a fan of the loudmouth performer's work. Number 5, Deonna Purrazzo. With former Impact Knockouts champion Deonna Purrazzo's time with said company looking like it was coming to a potential end, on the back of it being reported that her Impact deal will expire at the end of 2022, the star was said to likely be entering into contract negotiations with the current promotion back in August. But in a development that could hint at Purrazzo's time as an Impact Knockout being well and truly over after all, the one-time NXT performer teased a shocking return to WWE as recently as this month, tweeting out to former tag partner Chelsea Green, "You got room at home for me?" Whether this is simply a way to get eyes on Perrazzo as she enters a significant next chapter in her already impressive career, or plans have actually already been put in place to bring the former Knockouts Tag Team Champion back to WWE alongside her best friend. There's no denying that seeing the VXT squad back together again would add some much needed intrigue to an often overlooked WWE Women's Tag Team division in 2023. Number 4, Sanity. The unit of Eric Young, Killian Dane, and Alexander Wolf, aka Sanity, weren't ever really given the chance to deliver the same brand of chaos they did over on the Black and Gold brand upon debuting on the main roster in 2018. Before long, the squad of misfits had been broken apart, with Young soon getting lost in the mid-card shuffle, Wolf eventually aligning himself with Imperium for a spell, and Dane forming an unlikely alliance with Drake Maverick, while fellow nutjob Nikki Cross had been well and truly distanced from the group on the likes of Raw and SmackDown. All in all, by the time the 3 male members of the faction had been sent packing by WWE last year, it was hard to escape the feeling of the Wrecking Squad being a particularly frustrating main roster missed opportunity. But if reports of Young's return to WWE action under Triple H already being in the works or anything to go by, the chances of a second stab at all things Sanity appear to have been significantly bolstered recently. Big Damo has also admitted to being open to a return to his former employer as part of the group too. So who knows, maybe a fully reassembled Sanity taking Raw and SmackDown by storm in 2023 is already close to becoming an unstable reality. Number 3, Jonah. The former Bronson Reed seemed destined for main roster success back in 2021, but that was before he ultimately failed to impress former WWE chairman Vince McMahon during his tryouts for a spot on the main roster. By August, Jonah had been let go from the sports entertainment giant, but said release opened the door for an excellent run as part of New Japan Pro Wrestling and Impact Wrestling going forward, with Jonah even picking up a sensational win over former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Kazuchika Okada during this year's G1. However, with the game now back in town over in WWE, it's evident just how much the cerebral assassin would love to reunite with the former North American champion at some point in 2023. WWE have even reportedly sent an offer the star's way already, but those same rumblings have also hinted at a rather impressed New Japan placing a deal in front of the Titanic worker too. While the former NXT powerhouse would most likely be protected and pushed a little better over in Japan, you wouldn't exactly blame Jonah for wanting to prove himself over in the biggest wrestling organization on the planet, and the money probably won't be half bad either. Number 2, FTR. Thanks to the depressing way the old school twosome and tag team wrestling in general were treated on their way out the door, any talk of the former revival popping back up in WWE ever again initially seemed fanciful at best following on from their 2020 exit. But a lot can change in a few years, and after thoroughly establishing themselves as one of the greatest teams of their generation whilst performing in AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Ring of Honor, and every other independent promotion in between during the years since that WWE departure, it now seems as though time and a change of circumstances could have healed a once irreparable wound. Along with noting recently that the pair's contracts with Tony Khan's company look to be expiring in April of next year, Dax Harwood's comments earlier this year on being happy to return to WWE one day if the money and circumstances were right sits as the clearest hint yet at FTR potentially being up for reuniting with the same Papa H who took a chance on the fellas back in 2015. Also, despite picking up a freakish amount of gold in 2022, the way the 7-star unit have been frustratingly underutilized on AEW programming lately probably hasn't helped convince either man that an all-elite future is worth committing to at this moment. And with Harwood noting the undeniable loyalty he feels towards both Trips and Tony recently, a revival of the revival appears about as likely as FTR remaining all-elite in 2023. Number 1, CM Punk. The King of Kings and best in the world weren't exactly the best of pals when both operating under the WWE banner many moons ago. Again though, time has a funny old habit of healing even the most severe wounds, and in the wake of the all-out implosion that was Brawl Out, it appears a chick magnet WWE comeback may finally be back on the table. If reports are to be believed, should Punk and AEW reach an agreement on a buyout of his current all-elite deal, the game and WWE's stance on Phil Brooks softening in recent times has made a once unlikely return feel more possible than ever. And whether the animosity is still there or not, business is business after all, and would anything bring in more eyes and money than the dramatic WWE return of the voice of the voiceless? Ever the worker, Punk himself hasn't exactly played down rumours of a WWE comeback either, posting out images on Instagram from his time with the company just this month. So brace yourself because 2023 is definitely shaping up to give 2022 a run for its money when it comes to utterly surreal developments. And that's our list. Over any other wrestlers wrestlers Triple H will sign for WWE in 2023? Let us know all about them in the comment section right down below, and do not forget to like, share, and click on that subscribe button while you're at it. Also, if you like this kind of thing, then please head on over to whatculture.com and find some more fantastic articles just like the one this video you are watching this very second is based on. I've been Gareth from What Culture Wrestling. Thank you as always for clicking on this lovely video today. Hopefully I'll see your faces very, very soon, but in the meantime, hey, go and kick some ass. Bye-bye.